This is the plaintiff, Lenny Letzinger. He says he hired the defendant to move him out of his house, and the lackadaisical guy and his workers scratched his fridge and smashed his 65-inch flat-screen TV. He knew something wasn't right with this guy when he showed up in a rented U-Haul. He should have trusted his instincts. But hey, you live and you learn. He's suing for $4,690.15, the amount of his damages. This is the defendant, Anthony Jeter. He says he told the guy he needed to take the door off his refrigerator, but he didn't want to go through the expense and told him to just squeeze it out the front door. Then 30 days after the move, the guy tries to blame him for his broken TV set, which is insane. This man's nuts if he thinks he's going to pay him almost $5,000 and is sure the judge will agree. He's accused of breaking things up.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff hired the defendant to move his refrigerator and says the guy bungled the job and dented it. But the defendant says he told the plaintiff he needed to take the door off. He didn't want to do that, and here they are. It's the case of Amana to Amana.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Letzinger, you are suing Anthony Jeter and his company More for Money Movers Incorporated because, according to you, they damaged several of your things to the tune of $4,690.15. Tell me what happened here.
I wanted to move on September the 1st, and it was now August 30th. And
what was the rush? Were you being evicted?
No, I was moving from my co-op back into my home.
So why were you such a late planner? Why were you looking for movers on the 30th?
Because my son was renting the co-op out, and he had it rented, had someone moving in on September 1st.
Okay. So you hire Mr. Jeter. How do you find out about him?
Online.
All right. So you agree on a price. You basically show him pictures, and that's how he gives you a price?
No. He was charging by the hour. I believe it was $150 an hour.
Is that accurate, Mr. Jeter?
I gave him a price based on the list of items that he showed me. He sent me some pictures, a refrigerator, and some other stuff, and I gave him a price based on it.
Yeah, so Mr. Jeter, it's not your custom to go to the place and take a look at it. That just takes too much time.
No, it was short notice. He called me like maybe a day before the actual move, which in our industry is kind of weird. But
how about in your industry, do you have written contracts? Because I found that kind of weird, too, that you didn't have any written contract in this case. Because
we didn't have a written contract for him because it was last minute.
Yeah, but it's last minute. It takes a second to email a written contract and to have it sent back to you. That's not true. I mean, it takes 1 second. You don't have to send it by Pony Express. You can actually send it by email, and that's a second. So it's not last minute. It's kind of careless, right? But Mr. Letzinger, what happens that day?
Well, he showed up to move that morning and everything like that. I was kind of looking for a moving van with his name on it, but I saw first he arrived in a car and said the truck would be arriving. Then a U-Haul truck came into the complex. I thought that was a little weird, and I was a little skeptical about that. But then my son showed up, and he knew one of them, so that kind of sort of calmed me a little bit and stuff. Now my son was there, and there was some difficulty as far as getting the stuff out of the co-op and everything.
For example, what? The refrigerator, which is your big ticket item that you're suing for. You want a brand new refrigerator to replace your used one because it got damaged during the move. How did it get damaged during the move?
Well, it got damaged going into the home. It actually it was awful. They got stuck in the door. It was halfway in the house, halfway out the house.
Is this when they were removing the refrigerator from the co-op and into your home? No, it was when they were putting the refrigerator in your home.
Into my home.
Okay.
Yes.
So
and
let's see.
If I might say so, Your Honor, if I might say so, at no point did anyone take a measurement of the door and measure the refrigerator to see if it would fit through. It was sort of a trial and error type of thing. And they got the refrigerator hung in the door. They couldn't move it in, they couldn't move it out.
So this is some pretty bad damage. Let me hear your response, Mr. Jeter.
Correct. So before we even took the job, I let Lenny know that the refrigerator door must come off in order to get it in.
Show me where you said that. I've read the
No.
text. Show me where you said the refrigerator door must come off.
August 31st.
Okay. Hey, Lenny, we cannot take refrigerators or exercise equipment apartment, just standard furniture. There is a handling fee for those items as well, $125 each item, which is an additional $250. And then he responds, don't think they need to be taken apart. Handling fee, okay. And you say, okay, the refrigerators go out as is. Are you taking both? He says, no, only the one. The other one's a replacement. Okay, cool. So you don't actually tell him to take the doors apart, like you say in your answer to the complaint. You just basically tell him, I'm not taking them apart. Now, if he says, I'm not taking those doors apart, and you say, and he says to you, so we're just moving them as is, why do you expect him to take it apart, Mr. Letzinger?
No, I didn't expect him to take it apart. The replacement refrigerator, which was there, had came out of the house over to the condo.
Yeah, I don't
They
care
were
about the
exact
replacement
same-
refrigerator. I care about the refrigerator that's going into your house that they moved. You're saying they
Right.
didn't measure, they didn't take the doors apart, it couldn't fit through the opening. Why was it damaged, Mr. Jeter?
Well, we actually did take the doors off of his new place. So what happened is in the condo where he's moving out of, his son had to come over and take out the sliding doors to get it out of that place. He had to take off both.
Yeah, but
sliding
how did it
doors
get
off
so
the back.
damaged?
He asked us to squeeze it through the door in his
The
new
sliding
location.
door
He
or
said
the regular door?
the new door in his new home.
So it
what
did
happened-
happen in the new home. So he asked you
It
to.
happened in the new home.
Who's he? The son or the father said, just do your best.
The father, excuse me, the father, Lenny.
Right. So he's watching you jamming it through the thing, and he
Yes.
sees that there's a problem and it
Yes.
doesn't fit.
He said he has no refrigerator. He needs to get it in.
Okay.
That's what
And
he said. He
so
took off
when do
both
you
doors
decide,
to get
all
it
right,
in.
I'm just going to take the doors off to get it in after, all the damage?
No, we took the doors off first before we even tried to get it in the house.
So you didn't take the doors to the fridge off. You took the door to the house off.
Right? I can't
And that
take off the
still
door
wasn't
refrigerator.
enough to jam the thing through. You had to keep jamming.
Exactly.
And he saw that and he knew it and he authorized it.
Yes.
All right,
correct.
so let me hear from you, Mr. Letzinger. According to him, you can see, you're standing right there and they can't get it through, and you never took the doors off. You had said as is, and so this was a damage that you contemplated. What's your response to that?
First of all, I would never tell him to squeeze a refrigerator through the door.
So what were you going to do? Just
And
leave the
I did-
refrigerator outside if it didn't fit?
No, by the time that we realized there was a problem getting the refrigerator into the home, the refrigerator was halfway in the door. It was stuck. He couldn't get it in, and he couldn't get it back out.
Did you happen to take any pictures when this was going on, Mr. Letzinger?
At that time, no.
Who's
Not at all.
it on, Mr. Jeter? Who has the onus of measuring the refrigerator and seeing that it's not going to fit?
Well, Your Honor, what I do is I do moving all the time. So I know refrigerators don't go out of the door or in as is. If you get a refrigerator delivered, it comes with the doors off. And then the people who bring it in, they put it on for you.
But can I suggest
So
to you
that's why I knew
something?
he
This
needed
is
to
a
come off.
perfect. Do you have a telephone?
I do.
Right. You have a cell phone, right? And does your cell phone take pictures and video?
They do.
Okay. It's not just for nasty pictures and video. It's also to protect you from liability. So if you've got a guy saying, go ahead and jam it, you pick up the phone and you video, okay, no problem, but I'm going to need to just record you because I don't want to be liable. So just tell me that you want me to jam it in there because you need a fridge. And you tape him saying that. That would be a good use of
correct.
the phone, right? All right,
would.
let's talk about the TV. Because the TV, according to you, the TV smashed. I have a picture of the TV, but you don't notice it. You go ahead and you do notice the fridge smashed, and you pay them the full amount anyway. But you notice the TV smashed when?
So I didn't notice it until I had it mounted on the wall.
Which
and
was how
turned it
much
on.
after? How long after the move was that?
I don't know, maybe a week or so
And
after the
according
move.
to you, Mr. Jeter, it's how much later?
He calls me a month after.
Well, it's
with that
definitely not a
information.
month later because I know from the text that he says on the 21st. So I guess I'm just going to see you in court. So he must have called you sooner than that. He called you
So that
within
was
3
It
weeks.
had to be 3 weeks then.
Yeah. So are you saying that you actually can't see it broken until it's installed?
Until it's turned on.
Until it's turned on. That's when you see
Right,
this.
and I had no reason to turn it on. I never turned to turn it on until it was installed.
How did you package this?
He asked us for a comforter to wrap the TV in. He didn't have blankets. He didn't have a dolly. He had no equipment to move with.
Did you not have blankets, Mr. Jeter?
He had no blankets.
And everything was wrapped. That's an absolute lie.
Your Honor, that's not true. Nothing was wrapped.
Well, if nothing was wrapped, why did you let them move it? Why didn't you say you need to wrap stuff?
Because, Your Honor, I was hesitant about it, but by the time I decided...
What do you mean nothing was wrapped? If somebody takes my TV and it's not wrapped and they just have it under their arm, I say, whoa, 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 whoa. Do you have a receipt for this TV?
I do have a receipt for the TV.
When was it purchased? May of 2020. All right, is there anything else you want to say, Mr. Jeter?
Only thing I really want to say is that I did exactly what the man asked me to do. He said he didn't have any other refrigerator. He wanted us to force that refrigerator in there. He was standing right there along with his wife, gave the okay. As far as the TV, I wasn't aware of any damages. And when he texted me about the damage or called me about the damage, I said, hey, send me a picture of the TV. And I'll be more than happy to do whatever I can.
Right,
give you
and
60
actually,
cents per
let's
pound
talk
liability.
about what you said. You did not say I'll be more than happy to do whatever I can. What you said is I'll give you 60 cents a pound, which is not
That's
something
the
you have a
standard
right to
valuation.
say because he never signed anything agreeing to 60 cents a pound now, did he? Right? You didn't limit
that's a
your
standard
liability
move.
by having a contract, which is what people in your industry always do. All right, I'm ready to rule. I tend to agree with Mr. Jeter on the issue of the refrigerator, and I'm not going to order that Mr. Jeter buy you a brand new refrigerator. Based on the TV and your misfortune that I just had this happen to me, Mr. Jeter, I was thinking, hey, why do you bring it up a month later? But that is true. You don't know that the interior damage happens until you mount the TV and turn it on. I happen to know that that's true. And so that is the earliest you can bring it up. And of all the times that it broke, it sounds to me like a move with blankets is probably the time that it broke. So this is not a criminal case where he has to prove your guilt beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. It's a civil case. It's more likely than not. Now, the question becomes the value of a used TV. And I'm going to do what we call now
A little bit of rough justice.
rough justice.
Welcome back to the People's Court. The burning question, is the plaintiff going to get money from the defendant for damaging the fridge? Let's go back into the courtroom and find out.
So I am not going to order Mr. Jeter to pay back the entire amount of the move, the cost of a new TV, and the cost of a new fridge to the tune of $5,000. However, I am going to order Mr. Jeter on the television to pay Mr. Letzinger $750. That is my verdict. Good luck, folks.
So the plaintiff, who had been suing for $4,600, gets $750 back. That's for the broken TV. That's it. He doesn't get any more from the defendant. Mr. Jeter, let me just ask you how you feel about it. You're off the hook for the refrigerator, but what about the TV? How you feel about that?
I mean, I guess it's as fair as it can get. The TV, like I said, things do happen during the move. I wasn't trying to get away from the issue, but I also know it was a 65-inch TV. So.
All right. And when you push the refrigerator through, I mean, do you just had to shove it through the doorway? Really? I mean, that's hard to do, isn't it?
We had to take off both doors. We had to open up the refrigerator door, maneuver it through, and push through. And like I said, the man was there the whole time. He asked us to do it. He said if we didn't do that, he wouldn't have a refrigerator. So.
All right, Mr. Letzinger, I don't know. You're going to get some money back, not what you wanted. What are you thinking right now?
I'm thinking he just lied to you right in your face right then when he said we took off the doors and then we had to take off the doors. If he had taken off the doors wouldn't have been scratched and dented up. He never took off the doors when he forced it through there. He just lied on camera.
Bottom line is you're only getting $750. That's the key here. What's your reaction to that?
That may be true. No, I'm saying that's the truth. But he lied about the refrigerator, as he lied about most of the other stuff. He's a liar.
Okay. All right. Sorry you feel that way, but that's the judge's decision, and you're going to have to live with it. Everybody does.
Yes.
All right, Harvey, let's hear what you have to say about this case. What are you thinking?
So, Doug, look, I mean, this is a case where there was a settlement before going to court. There may be a settlement that isn't particularly fair to one side, but if that side agrees to the settlement and it's executed, the reality is you can't get a second bite of the apple. Even if it's an unfair settlement, that's it. You cannot relitigate.
What's your favorite technical gadget?
Let's see.
There's a lot, right?
There's a lot. There's a lot. I love my iPad. I use that a great deal.
Right.
I happen to have the greatest wine opener, which I happen to use a lot.
Every day, practically.
And there's no mechanics to it. You don't plug it in. It doesn't need to be charged. I don't have to do anything. It's a rabbit, and I go down, and then I go up. I don't even take that little metal thing up. I just go down and I go up, and every time anybody sees me use it, they immediately want to know the name and order it, because there is nothing to break. Everything breaks, and there's nothing to break here. You go down, you go up, you toss it, you pour.
Yeah, that thing is remarkably easy to open.
Yes, it is. That's my favorite. That and my Ember that keeps my coffee hot for a longer amount of time.
Oh, yeah.
That charges the coffee cup itself gets charged.
Yeah.
And so you walk around the house and it stays warm for an hour.
That's because you leave coffee all over the place.
I leave hamsters
all over
everywhere.
The place. Yeah, I find them in the morning. One here, one there.
What's yours?
Mine, probably, I have a little Leatherman tool. It's like needle nose pliers that have a bunch of little gadgets, screwdriver, knife, all these other things sticking off of it. It's like a Swiss Army knife, only way better, because you can actually cut wire with it. You can do anything with it. So that probably, a million apps that are fantastic, that have made my life better.
Like?
Waze for driving around trying to find places. And probably one other thing I have that I've only used once, but it really worked well. I have this flexible line that I think it's wrapped around a chain, and it's got a magnet at the end. So if somebody drops something down the drain, you remove the drain plug and you just drop it down, and it'll take it out of the sink trap if it's metal, if it's a piece of jewelry or something. So I used that once.
You used it once, and you're mentioning it this much later because you were a hero to your daughter who had dropped whatever it was, and you're still feeling the love.
Exactly. I'm still basking in the glow of that heroism.